All righty. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us at Borough Board District Managers meeting this morning. So we're going to start off this morning, and I want to welcome everyone. We're going to start off because of the impending snowstorm that is on its way, I believe, between Wednesday and Thursday. So one of the things we wanted to ensure is that we had a direct line of communication with the Department of Sanitation, and that our borough would be ready. Most importantly, I do want to commend the Department of Sanitation for the work that they've done over the course of the last few years and getting us through these storms. There have been some hiccups and challenges, but I think, the more we communicate, the more we plan, the better off the borough will be. So we're going to start off hearing briefly from the Department of Sanitation. And for those of you who don't know what the Department of Sanitation does, it promotes a healthy environment through efficient management of the city's solid waste and environmentally sound long-range planning to handle New Yorkers' recycling and garbage. DSNY also clears litter, snow and ice from some 6,500 miles of streets, removes debris from vacant lots, and clears abandoned vehicles from the city streets. With us this morning is Nicholas, the Assistant Director of Community Engagement and Project Coordination at DSNY. Mr. Circaro will deliver an update on the city's preparation for this week's anticipated snowstorm and how it may affect outdoor dining. Welcome, Nicholas. I don't think I've ever used your last name in all the years that we've known each other, but I want to welcome you to give a brief presentation and take a few questions, and then we'll move on to our district managers. So thank you for joining us, Nicholas.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Everybody here got our presentation about what our normal operations are like. So we're beginning to transition. We will have our folks on 12-hour shifts Wednesday into Thursday, and potentially Thursday into Friday. It kind of depends on how much snow we actually get. Right now, our meteorologist is fairly confident we're going to get at least 6+ inches. We did issue our snow alert to everybody. This year, it's a little bit different though. And do I have the capability to share my screen here? Hold on,
Yes.
Let me just see if I could do it. I want to just show something really quick because this year we have 2 different levels of advisories, and this is in relation to open restaurants. So if on our website, Snow Response, we have a open restaurants program page. So for winter operations advisory, so Monday we had a winter operations advisory. That means we're predicting winter weather. So it could just be flurries, could be anything, slush. You could still have roadway dining, and we recommend obviously you take steps to protect your patrons, because we could be spreading salt, and if they're sitting at the roadway, they could be hit with some salt. For Wednesday, we have a snow alert. So for a snow alert, that means 1 or more inches of snow are possible. Roadway dining has to close as a result of a snow alert. We recommend in situations like this of 8+ inches, 6+ inches, that the restaurant owners and open restaurant participants remove and secure any furniture that they can, remove the tops of your structures, put up, there's flags that you can put to mark your roadway structure. We also have our flyer that we worked with SBS, DOT, all of our agency partners, that we've been distributing to restaurant owners, and DOT has been as well, using snow sticks to increase visibility, be prepared to consolidate items. This comes in a bunch of different languages. So that is the kind of storm that it looks like that we're going to be having on Wednesday into Thursday morning. Looks like it'll be 6 more inches. Our office, and I'll put I know everybody here has our contact information, but I'll put it again in the chat. Our office will be open 24 hours. We will have at least 2 people in the office and others working remotely. So if there's anything that, any issues or complaints or questions that you have during the storm while it's happening, you can always reach out to us by phone or through email. But it is important to remember with constituents, like I said in the previous presentation, that if we are in snow removal operations, we won't divert a truck to handle a 311 complaint. We operate continuously on our route until the storm is over. And if there's any issues that still remain, so basically once the snow stops Thursday, we'll make sure to get it to start addressing those complaints. That being said, if there's major issues, stuff happening, that's what you guys have the direct line to us, where we'll make sure to get it to our operations folks and take care of everything as soon as possible. So it looks like Wednesday we're getting our first storm of the year, and we're certainly prepared. We've been doing our training, making sure that we don't need to alter any routes with smaller equipment in case we can't fit down any of the streets because of the open restaurant participants. We're very confident we're going to be able to handle the storm and make sure that the structures and businesses are safe, and that it goes very smoothly. So, and that's really the update on our end. Things obviously could change. This is supposed to happen tomorrow night. We'll obviously keep everybody notified through email if the storm ends up changing, but that's what we're prepared for right now.
So how are you? Let me go back to small businesses. Just a quick question. So is SBS, how are y'all coordinating with the other agencies, SBS and DOT? To the restaurants, we positive all restaurants in Queens have been alerted to the fact that they have to, change their outdoor dining structures, or how's that working?
Yeah. So the guidance really is for them to, it's more like suggestions that they consolidate and remove all the any roadway structures. We would like them to. It's in their best interest to protect those structures in case a pile of snow gets pushed towards their structure. But we send the snow alerts and coordinate with DOT. We have all of our contacts that are in charge of the Open Restaurants program get our notification, and just like Open Streets program as well, they disseminate that information to their partners. They have about over 10,000 restaurants in the Open Restaurants program. We actually don't have the capability through our email system to even send an email to that many participants. So DOT is handling the emails out to all of their partners, as it should be since it's their program. But we have a close line of communication with our partners at DOT, and we get that information to them as soon as we send it out, as soon as we know, and they disseminate it to their partners.
All righty. All right. I'll go to district managers. Are there any questions? I know Sanitation was here, I think, a few weeks ago, but any questions related to the storm?
Mr. Borough President?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having us. May I ask a question?
Of course.
Good morning, Nicholas. Thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate your service. And I'm the district manager for Community Board 1, Astoria, Queens. We just received a new superintendent who is not on staff as of yet. So every day we're having a different super for this week. We have approximately 4 restaurant areas. We have Ditmars, 30th Avenue, Broadway, and 23rd. In my district, I've been speaking with DOT. We have street cafes that have second floors now. We have some street cafes that actually have Anderson windows installed in the cafes. We have some what looks like is permanent roofing, like I would build a house. I'm concerned with the weight of the snow I'm concerned with the snow removal. Is there any way that you could coordinate it with DOT, possibly to send somebody out and look at the structures? Should I reach out to DOT and ask them to go out and do a walkabout in my district? I'm afraid of collapsing structures during the snow if it is indeed 6 inches.
Yeah, anything that you believe that the structure might be failing to comply with the guidelines that DOT put out for the open restaurants program, I would certainly reach out to DOT. We'd be happy to be part of it because the size of the structures, if they overextend, can potentially affect our snow operations. We have had all of our operators drive the routes multiple times, starting back in October to about a couple weeks ago, to make sure that they could actually fit down all of these roads and make sure it wouldn't actually impede snow removal.
Mhm.
We haven't had to alter any of the routes.
That's good.
So we're confident they've all pretty much complied with the 6 feet wide, so our trucks can fit down the street comfortably. You know, but we do hear what you're saying, and we'd be happy to be part of the walkthrough. And if you want to help, if you want to send me the locations and I could connect them with DOT, or you want to send them to DOT and
Could you
CC us on it.
Could you email all of us your phone number or email, and email, of course, so that we can reach out to you? My concern is superficially, and I do know a little bit about construction. Superficially, everything looks good on the outside, but because of the fact that buildings department, and others were not involved in the structure, they may look good to you and I by eye, but this is going to be the real tester. And you don't want anybody to get injured because this is the real tester.
Yeah, exactly. And we want business owners obviously to protect which is why, they're supposed to be temporary structures so they could remove and consolidate them in situations like this, because at the end of the day, we do have to clear the streets so our first responders and our essential workers can get to work and do the jobs that they need to do. And our operators have been instructed to slow down, as they may not have done in past years. Make sure that as they're approaching an open restaurant structure, slow down, take it slow, make sure especially if it's on the right side. You don't want to just barrel down the street and plow into an open restaurant structure especially with heavy snow. So we feel prepared, and we don't expect that there'll be any issues. But you never know how it goes when you're actually in operation. So
Thank you.
I dropped my contact info in the chat for everyone. So
could you email it to us also? Because once the meeting's over, we can't see the chat.
Oh, sure. I could send an email to everyone. Yep.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Hey, Marie. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you? In the past, we used to email OEM. Are we still doing that, or should we email you first?
OEM will send any snow complaints or issues that they get to us. You could send them directly to us. You could send them to OEM. You could send it to both of us, whatever you want to do. Effectively, they all end up coming back to us. So you could send it directly to us, or it's whatever your preference is.
Okay, thank you.
With them to sanitation, and one of the can you go through when should people start calling to complain about lack of snow removal? I mean, I know you're going to get it right.
Yeah, effectively once the snow stops.
Okay, so during the snowstorm, for those who are watching, don't ask for your block to be plowed. We get this every year. The snow is falling. They're not on my block yet. But if it is a dangerous condition, that you should get it to us. If it's icy or something of that nature.
And I do say just quickly, we do use your 301s for situational awareness during the storm. Our folks in our command center at 125 Worth have the 311s up, and they're refreshing them. So if we do see that a block has, 20 311s in this last hour, it's likely we'll check plow NYC, see if maybe a truck hasn't been down there And that's when we will call the district, find out what trucks assigned to that route and see what's going on. And sometimes we had issues like we did with Superstorm Jonas, where we had trucks stuck in snow. We had cars on the block that were stuck, so we had to call our tow operators to get them out. And we do use that information, and it's important information. So I would say to those that, that you still call, just because we're not going to send a truck there, still call. It's valuable information that we use for our storm follow-ups and during the storm. But your street is assigned to a route. We promise we will get there.
All righty, I got a question from Community Board 2, District Manager Debbie Markell.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Matt. Borough President Donovan, welcome and congratulations as always. Nick, hi, good to see you again. Thank you for your presentation. I'm just going to ask again because we do have a lot of bike lanes in our district, and it is an issue, as they say, good or bad. But for everybody, we need to know what's the protocol. We do the streets, then we do the bike lanes. I know you've got special equipment for the communities. So if you want to just state that for the record, that would be terrific. We would appreciate that.
Yeah, obviously the streets are done first. So we handle all the streets. There is no hierarchy like there used to be in the past. It's critical and sector. They're all done at the same time. Once the roadways are cleared, we shift to pedestrian infrastructure. In your borough snow plans, you'll see how many of those smaller pieces of equipment are assigned to every district. I think there's about 2 skid steers per district throughout the city. Those are the smaller Bobcats. Those handle a lot of the pedestrian infrastructure, and also our Holster trucks, which every district has, handles the bike lanes. We do ask for help from any homeowners and business owners and property managers in terms of those corner properties that have fire hydrants or crosswalks, ramps into the crosswalks, to try and clear those as well. There's so many of them, it's really hard for us to handle those. But we do bike lanes next, and then we hit those high priority, main thoroughfare crosswalks and fire hydrant and start to clear that out afterwards. And we use our snow laborers to do that as well.
Thank you, Nick. Just a quick follow-up. We did get a new supervisor. I have not spoken to him yet, so I need to get clarity on that as well.
Okay, I can reach out to the borough chief after this and ask if he can make the connection.
That would be terrific. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Nick. All right, any other questions? I'm looking in the chat quick. Okay. All right, Nick left all his information in the chat, so I think
I'll send everyone an email now.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. I guess as the storm finishes up, to make sure every community board is taken care of. So, thank you for being here, Nick. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All righty. All righty. So now I guess it's us. So just want to thank everybody for last night. We had a really good borough board meeting last night. I guess just some follow-up items, and I really wanted to shut up and sort of give everybody the space here, and to give input or suggestions to us. I did just want to flag a few things as we move forward. So last night, we discussed with DOH and track and trace, or trace and track, additional locations that we could do COVID testing. So I really want to get that information into DOH or track and trace by tomorrow. So if you have suggestions of locations, you should get that to us, by close of business tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, we got the storm tomorrow. So the end of today would be good if you have any locations. And then I was interested, and I think I want to open it up now on, where should we go? Which agencies are we looking to hear from, or we haven't heard from, moving into the new year, that you would like to have us come on. So, we had the health department yesterday. for the borough board, but, moving forward, are there any agencies or issues that you would want us to, proceed on as we move into the new year? And if there are just any structural changes, or dates, anything because each of you are doing the work, you have your pulse on what's happening in the community. If there are suggestions you have for us as we move forward, even doing these borough board, these district manager meetings, now is a good time to sort of share that. And then we're moving into community board applications. And, one of the things I want to do is revisit the application. And, we sort of started to talk about this a little bit intimately Friday, but if there's suggestions on how we can improve the application, how we can make it more accessible to the public, that's welcome today as well. So I just want to open the floor up, being that this is my first district cabinet meeting, and to give you all the space to sort of, give us recommendations. So I want to thank you for being here this morning. The floor is yours. Don't be shy.
Hey, good morning. May I, Borough President?
No, I'm playing. All right, go ahead, Frank. Good morning, Frank.
That's why I love you, wise guy from my neighborhood. Hey, so traditionally, we've had an issue with the Department of Education coming down and talking to us about the entire borough not get the device that they needed to attend school across the board. We've gotten some stuff from the chancellor. Finally, the other day, he said by Christmas week, every kid will have it, but they're not saying how it's being distributed. We don't have the details. They just give us a general statement. And then the next item that will affect everybody in Queens will be the whole testing process. That affects our kids directly. And we need real answers in real time. They keep putting it off. I know COVID has put a lot of stuff on the back burner, but that's not right. They are our future. And every time they've come down, for example, when we've done the budget and we meet with them, they've sent, I'm not talking bad, but they've sent not the person we want to hear from, the chancellor, but they've sent third and fourth and fifth parties down who really could never give us the right answer. It was like they were doing us a favor. Now they're a city agency just like we are a city agency, and we've never gotten the respect that we need from them. So that's something I'd like to see worked on in the future, that when they come to one of our meetings, we get real answers. And the comment is always, we'll get back to you, and they don't get back to us. Look, we're the guys, you just said it, we're the guys and gals on the streets. We're hearing from the people. Education is a major situation in this borough, no matter what district you're in. So if you could get them down, I would appreciate that very much.
Okay.
I'm sure my colleagues would agree.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I started a conversation with the chancellor last week, actually. So
great.
We should invite him. Yeah, and it was actually on the same topic, on the devices, the number of devices that are still outstanding. There was a backlog apparently, but Queens is not going to take the short stick on this one. So we should invite the chancellor to come on. That's a good proposition. So let's see if we can work on him, and especially in light of the kids going back to school. Some of them, at least the ones who are doing blended, or I think for even my son's school, he's returning 5 days a week. So some of the kids, I don't think it's every school in the city, but we should get clarification on what that means for Queens, and then also we should get clarification on where they're at with the backlog and devices, and they should, quite frankly, be thinking outside the box too. I'm sure there are, other folks who could be helpful, with the devices, and we should try to figure that out as well. But he did explain backlog, which is shameful. I was saying, like, even as we talk about shelters, and one of the things he mentioned was he was very happy that Wi-Fi was getting installed in the homeless shelters. And I was saying, well, I'm very happy to hear it's happening now. This is something that should have probably happened like 30 years ago, right? I mean, when you talk about access and upward mobility, like, how don't you have Wi-Fi in these places? And quite frankly, every kid should have a device, whether we're in a pandemic or not. Every kid should have access to an iPad, in the city of New York to bring home, especially, in terms of where technology is going. So So I agree with you on that, and we'll look to have the chancellor on, I think, next month, which makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Borough President.
No problem. Thank you, Frank. Good to see you. All right, any other comments, concerns, solutions, proposals?
Should we just speak out?
I was about to say, I must be doing a great job in just a week.
Yeah.
Borough President,
Yes.
due to the fact that there right now is social distancing, mask wearing and everything, we are not doing any outdoor large events. But it may be a good idea to have SAPO come in and speak about their future plans for next summer. I know it's going to be idealistic, but we have a lot of not-for-profits, and they rely on the street fairs and everything that occurs. That's how they support their establishments, their religious houses of worship and all that. And I think that there must be some long-term plan that's going to be put into place, and we should be aware of it before the plans are made so we can have input. So street activity office may be a good option for some visit.
In the Parks Department, Parks and DOT.
Also, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. It's a good suggestion. Get ahead of it, you're certainly correct. I was also thinking we should, in terms of messaging, and community boards can take a much more active approach here, I think, too. We should think about doing PSAs. You know, we could all record a video for our respective districts and, you know, sort of try to think outside of the box, even as we move through the next year, although we have the vaccine coming online, but we should take a more active approach in this space as well. So that's something that I'm definitely interested in pursuing. You know, I think we can highlight the work of the community boards a lot more, the work that you all do, and y'all are the face of your communities. So I think there's some room to do some of that as well. All right, I see the next person. Yes, sir. Good morning.
So Mayor, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Borough President, man. The other day it was a tough time, and I got called out right when I was going into a COVID test. So my apologies on that. It was so chaotic, and the cab came right when the call happened. But good morning, everybody. Welcome. So Borough President, one thing that we had discussed the other day in passing, and again, it's gonna piggyback off what you were saying about the PSAs, and of course the board member application process. Something that I've always been in favor of, specifically in my board, and now more than ever, is the idea of what is your community board and what does it do workshop. You know, there's a chance where the local elected official, the district manager, the chairs can discuss their specific committees, the budget process, etc. You know, we're often touted as the first level of government, the first step, and it's just not, it's not properly advertised. We're getting audited on our websites. There's a lot of compliance issues, but the truth is that nobody really knows out there what it is that we're doing. So as part of one of these, we had issues logistically where we try to do workshops like this because, it's hard to get all the members, all the volunteers, members of the public to come out. But I think right now, specifically with the new administration that you're about to begin, this might be the time to do something like this. A web workshop, web-based workshop where people can join from the public, meet their local district manager, the local borough president, local council people. This is the application process. This is the begin. I'd love to see something like that. Now, we're certainly pushing for something like that, but that might actually work. It could double down as join your community board, click the link down there to get the application type of thing. And yeah, something like that. I think we're definitely pushing for it. And I'd like to throw that out as a possible suggestion as far as our PSA, more so not so much the community board exists, but what exactly does it do? How do you join? And again, we have a golden opportunity right now because it's online, so thousands of people could see it versus the 50 to 100 we normally would have gotten had this done in person.
What's your timeline for that? For doing this?
So normally we were looking to do it around maybe the March or the April era. Of course, had we had the chance to do something in person, but the fact that as we just began an entirely new executive committee from the ground up at our board, so it's at the top of their agenda for the January meeting. There's something at the beginning right away. So again, ideally, I would have loved to have done it in the spring, of course, with the weather permitting. But since weather is no longer a factor, this is something that could get done almost immediately. I want to say within the next 30 days or so, it's something that could be really done. And we could use it as a means to mail out swag, come visit your board office, just explain what it is we do. Again, we are the front line of government. So yeah, next 30 to 60 days, if weather is not a factor, if weather and social distancing is no longer a factor, then April, May would be ideal. Get people to physically come out and like an all-day workshop type of thing.
Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of trying to align it with community board applications too. So maybe, and I'm thinking of just the topics. So Frank, definitely, I think, we can get the chancellor on. I think we look to do the suggestion on the outdoor plan, large events plan for next summer. I think we do that as we February, Marches, and my staff could sort of, pick my brain a little bit more on this, but I think that makes sense as the weather starts to turn a little bit moving into the spring, but we should get ahead of it. So I think February, and I do think maybe perhaps the end of January, something like this is good.
Yeah.
But I just want to say we want all hands on deck, like, but I do think we should reintroduce, and I've seen a lot more individuals like all of a sudden interested in knowing what community boards do, especially young people. So I think now is a prime opportunity as we come off this next election actually, to really do that. And we also were thinking in terms of, and maybe we can, well, it's a little heavy because we have ranked choice voting coming up too. Right. So that was something that we've been kicking around as well for January, perhaps having the Office of Civic Engagement come in for January as well. But maybe we could do like a civic series or something of that nature. But I think in light of at least 2 elections coming up where ranked choice is happening, we should probably have them come on sooner than later. Yeah. And then we could follow up and do that, that introduction of the community board, perhaps the end of January, early February. And yes, and I think it would be good to have all of the DMs on the chairs to just introduce themselves, to the community. And we should use, our digital presence once again. People are not out like they used to. They're on Twitter all day, social media. So I think we could tap into definitely a base of people who may not be necessarily paying attention. So yeah, so I think that's great. So we'll follow up on that.
Thank you. As will we. Thank you so much.
Mr. Borough President.
Maria. Oh, go ahead.
Donovan?
Oh, yes.
Marie.
I'm gonna go to Ms. Overday first, and then I'm gonna come back to you because I saw her raising her hand.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Borough President. Was going to talk about the ranked choice voting. We're actually having them come to our community board in January since we're having a special election in District 24. And I think that in addition to having them come to our board, if we had a little video of some sort that we could actually have on our website that they can open and gives them all the information about ranked choice voting and what it's all about. Because people do visit our websites. So if we had that video in each community board website that someone can actually go to, and maybe it's like a 15-minute video where they watch and learn about it, I think that would be a great idea as well.
Yeah, so we could probably access the offer. I'm sure they should. They're a little behind, but they should have some sort of video. And one of the things we're looking at doing too is revamping our website. And I wanted to, I've sort of been looking through it a little bit, and I wanted to be more, have more information about each and every one of you as well, and sort of a direct link to you, as people come onto the page, where they can interface with it, a little better. So this is another area as we revamp our website. We're going to look to incorporate you and your boards a lot more. When people click on, I want them to see your meeting is the second Tuesday right away. And then also to have information on upcoming events, which we do, but I just want it to be more in your face, for the public who's watching as we move forward. So that's good you have them coming, but we'll also think about having them come on for a borough board or district cabinet meeting as well.
Great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. No shortage of topics, good topics so far. All right, I'm gonna go back to anybody else have questions?
I have a question.
Yes. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Donovan. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
Good to see you sitting there and looking good.
I'm trying.
I'd like to see a congressman come in and talk about the way that we're going to get rebooted with the Biden administration. Right now, we are suffering as a state and a city. And as Biden comes in and federal dollars come in, it would be important for us to understand how that money is going to get funneled into the city and into our respective communities. We don't really know what's going to happen. You know, we had PPE in the springtime. We have small businesses suffering now. We need money for the vaccine rollout. But I think it's going to be really important for that knowledge to come to us. I don't know if it's there yet, but once Biden is in his seat, for them to explain to us how that's actually going to work. And in addition, and I wasn't part of the meeting obviously last night, I think we need some information about the concerns that people have with the different vaccines that are coming out. I know with our board, we're going to be doing something with LIJ, explaining the differences between the vaccines and why they're safe. But I think it's something that we should be doing borough-wide and city-wide so we can move forward with some of the things that we're going to have to do during this really difficult winter.
Yeah, we we had a really good borough board last night. It was really good, and a lot of these concerns were raised, questions were raised with them, and I do want to give the health commissioner a lot of credit. He really, in his office, really did a good job at getting into the vaccine stuff. But yes, we should pull that out more and keep it, especially as they start to administer it to the public, because right now it's going. The priority is obviously frontline workers, and I think that our seniors in nursing homes and other places who are the most vulnerable. But we'll have them. This will have to be a continuous conversation because we want to make sure rollout is smooth and access is there for everyone, and that there's a direct line of communication. And then it's funny you mentioned this because Brent and I were on the line earlier today, and we talked about actually having the congressional delegation come on to address us. So that's right. You're right. That's a great suggestion, and that's something I want to see as well as we talk about PPP and everything else coming down the line in this new stimulus package that they say is coming. It's going to happen. So yes, so we'll put that down as well. Thank you.
May I roll back to what was said about a preparation video for new board members? I think it would be really important if we were to do something where each of the district managers would be able to speak in a segment and state, what a board member does and the interaction. I think that there's a lot of misconception from the board members when they come on the board, what their role is and what the role of the board office is. I think that a lot of the board members don't even know what a board does. Some people have called my office and even asked, oh, what's the borough president? You'll tell them you have to go to the borough president's website, you do this, that, and the other thing, you fill out this application, and you'll send them the link to the directions, and they don't even know what a borough president is, or they'll ask that they want to change legislation. They don't know that we don't do legislation. There's a lot of intricate stuff, and I know it seems, I'm going to use the word naive or maybe even silly, but it's not. People need to know what their role is as a board member versus working in the board office versus being an elected official. They don't know these separations. And I think that it would be really important for us to meet with you, not on YouTube, but in a private meeting where we can sit down and address these things with you as district managers. I think it would be very helpful to you, and I think it would be very helpful to us.
Totally agree. And yeah, I think we have a lot of work. I mean, and some of the onus is on us too, to ensure that, the public knows exactly what we're doing. And, we want to come up with a plan on that. And I think that's why I think even the conversation around having, some sort of town hall, digital town hall on with our community boards. I mean, that's just outreach. And I think right now we could tap into, there are a lot of people online. I think we would be foolish not to tap into tap into the digital world to really try
Absolutely.
to expand our presence a little bit more across the borough. So, so I'm with you on that, and always, you know, I have an open door policy. So if that's something, you know, everybody wants to do offline, I'm certainly here for it. And we could think about doing, you know, video. You know, you don't want to do like a half an hour video. Nobody's going to pay attention to it. But maybe we could think about, I mean, nobody will watch the full half an hour. You got to catch your attention fast, right? So we could think about perhaps, you know, doing some sort of tutorial or video that speaks to what are community boards? What do they do? What are our functions? And, you know, try to make it a little hip too, so it's not, you know, snooze
Yeah.
material.
Mr.
So
Borough
maybe that's
President,
something we can consider too. Yes, ma'am.
we also have the New York City radio station, which is run by the film industry now. We also have the TV channel. I mean, you could expand upon that. And then, of course, the local newspapers will pick this up for free. I mean, the marketing of it is easy. It's just getting the content. You could break it down into sections. You could have 4 or 5 different videos. I mean, the formatting of it, there's so many options, but the content is really important. Knowing that we need certain kinds of people on the community board, like for land use, we need to have an engineer, we need to have an architect. When you and the council people are making the decisions, these decisions are very important because we're going to be losing a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge. And sometimes when the board members come on, they know a lot, but they don't know as much as they think they know. And when we try to help them, sometimes it's not as easy as it should be. So, you know, these are things that we need your assistance on, you know?
Yep, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that suggestion. All righty. Anybody else who hasn't spoken?
Hi, Mr. Borough President.
Age before beauty.
Thank you.
Oh, no. Jonathan Gaska last.
I need 2 minutes. Joe, why don't you go first?
Okay, Joe.
I just had one quick thing, Mr. Borough President. I just wanted to, I know I mentioned it the last time we spoke. I just wanted to reiterate that I think it might be a very good idea to have someone from the Mayor's Office of Special Enforcement to maybe come to a borough cabinet. I know myself, I don't know if the other district managers have or don't have, but I don't, contact information down at that office. And for the remainder of COVID, it seems that they will be the ones that are kind of giving us guidance towards and enforcing issues regarding our now outdoor dining sheds. You know, a lot of our outdoor dining has, you know, they've entrenched themselves, and that's a good thing as long as they're doing it in a way in which you're not going to spread COVID. So that's something that for us is a little bit confusing. You know, we get complaints, and I really don't even know what to tell residents in terms of what's legal or not. You know, I know that the last time we spoke about this, I think it might have been Florence's chair put the regulation in the chat, but it's another thing to have it explained to you by the agencies that are actually enforcing it.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, and I'm thinking we can tie that in. I would love to have SBS on as well, to talk about their grants program, and, you know, even as PPP comes down, you know, what does that mean for all of Queens? I don't know if many of you followed the data, but I passed a law in the council subject to SBS not giving the outer boroughs, quote unquote, our fair share of the loans and grants program. Well, grants specifically, you know, 56 or 57% of all of the grants went to Manhattan, and then we were left out in the cold, technically. So I passed a law that now requires SBS to do reporting to us on how that money is spent. So I think that's something we can get ahead of. And then also tie in, you know, the Office of Special Enforcement. You could have DOT and just wrap around, especially as the weather starts to get warmer too, right? Because I don't know how our small businesses are going to survive. Snowstorm is going to cripple them. You're already facing, you know, already closed. So it's
emergencies on top of emergencies.
Emergency on top of emergency. So I'm really concerned about the state of our small businesses, and want to make sure we do something, you know, broader, not just focusing on the special enforcement, but all of the facets of what we should be doing to aid and assist our small businesses as we move forward. I'm also working and will be taking suggestions. EDC is working on a program which many of you might have heard of or remember. The Mets has a new owner, and the city actually negotiated some additional funding for small businesses. So we're working with the EDC president to sort of come up with the scope and criterias for how this money will be dispersed, and we want to make sure it's done equitably around the borough. I believe the money will specifically be used only for Queens, which is great. And it's millions of dollars. And one of the things we're stressing to them is we don't want loans, we want grants. These businesses need rental assistance. If they're going to do loans, they should go to the businesses, who perhaps are better off, who could survive this. But, for those who are really, on the brink of closing, they should really get the grant. So that's something we'll be talking a lot more about as we move into the new year as well. And I would hope to wrap around, all of the different agencies for small businesses. And then also, Florence, in light of your question, I actually do have a call with Commissioner Castillo Friday from the film and TV industry. So I'll bring this point up, and let's see what we can put together if they would be willing to partner with us on it. But I think this is great.
Yeah.
Mr. Borough President.
Yes, Frank.
Congratulations, sir. I'm James, Community
James.
Board 9.
Oh, sorry, Frank was raising his hand. Who's on?
Oh, come on, Frank.
Okay.
He always talks, Frank. Frank talks too much. So just a few things. The Office of Special Enforcement is not so special as it relates to my problem with the Umbrella Hotel that you've been involved with, Mr. Borough President. Joe, I have the contact. His name is Christian Clausen. But don't get your expectations up. So they're invited to the next Umbrella meeting. I hope they participate because, as you know, Mr. Borough President, we've been trying to coordinate a multi-agency response to not only the Umbrella Hotel, but to other hotels that are being used as quasi nightlife areas. Once they go into the hotel, they get some kind of privacy protections. They can bring their own alcohol. So it becomes an attractive alternative to nightlife, unfortunately. And as you know, we've experienced a lot of problems over there. So I've sent the information to your scheduler, Serena, who I met yesterday.
On my calendar. Yep, I saw it.
Okay, sir. So we'd love to have you there, and the community appreciates, your participation not only going forward but in the past. So they're appreciative of that.
Thank you. Let me ask you on that. So there was an action recently, right?
Correct. There was 13 violations were issued. Of the 13, 2 are probably serious. One was operating without a valid certificate of occupancy, and the other was not maintaining a life fire safety system. So those 2 alone we should be moving forward to possibly close them down or stop doing business until they rectify those 2 issues. So we're hoping to get more information on that on December 22nd.
Okay.
We'd also like your help to let these agencies or gently exert pressure that they should really be sending representatives to our district service cabinet meetings on a regular basis. Not when they want, not if they feel like it, but it's imperative for us to do our job to have full participation. And I don't know about the other community boards. I think I've heard it on different meetings, but very rarely do we get a full participation from every agency that was invited. So any help you can provide in that area would be greatly appreciative.
Well, you should let us know whatever agencies. Now, this is the district service. If I go back to Jonathan Gaskell when I was a staffer, this is when every agency is pretty much there, or it's select agencies.
Pretty much every agency.
Yeah. So that's a mayoral
like the city charter.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we have to go back to the board that following week or 2 weeks and let them know at the district service cabinet meeting what information was given, any problems, and if we don't have all the pictures, all the agencies there, it's hard to give a real accurate accounting.
Right.
Last but not least, I'll go. One problem I'm having is with DCAS buildings and the maintenance of. I would like to know if we could have someone from DCAS come in and say how are they maintaining buildings. Some of the buildings are in disrepair. I'm not going to go into specifics of my district, but I would imagine that it's happening throughout the borough if it's happening in CB9. And with that, If I don't see you, have a wonderful, happy holiday. Stay safe. Wash your hands and don't touch your face.
Good advice.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thanks, James.
I wanted to, if I can jump
Going
in.
back to Frank again now.
Oh,
Frank
okay,
for the
thank you.
500 time. Go ahead.
You got it. Just so you know, Borough President, QPTV, a number of years ago, they did a profile on all the community boards that they filmed up there.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool and reached a lot of people. But now we have social media, which is even bigger and better. This is for all the DMs out there. The transition team, I'm sure all of you know that I'm on the transition team with regard to the community boards. Tomorrow, if you could get a pen or pencil, just jot this down. 12/16 at 12 p.m. The team is inviting all chairs, district managers, and if you can't make it, maybe you want to send someone from your executive board over. Everything that literally was discussed today to help our boards become bigger and better. There are 5 points that we'll focus in on, from engaging and recruiting new members and et cetera. Take a look at it. If you're interested, tomorrow will be a great time to meet Mike Mallon, myself, and the rest of the committee to go through some of this stuff. We have to report back to the Borough President's team, and we want your input. That's what this is about. Like I said, everything that was mentioned on Monday and everything on Friday, and everything that was mentioned today, this morning, some of the things that they're focusing on. So if you could help us a little bit, we would appreciate it. The link will be sent out. Again, it's tomorrow around 12 o'clock. And thank you if you can. If not, have a merry and a happy, whatever you celebrate, Kwanzaa, et cetera. Thank you.
And I want to thank you for participating. And Frank has certainly been a mouthpiece for the boards. I thought it was very important that we put, somebody who is a real mouthpiece on the transition team. On the transition team. So most of you may not know, but we have a transition team with about 120 people. But all people from different backgrounds, political ideologies, and one of the areas they're focused on, which was important to me, was community boards. So we actually have some, a team of people, and Frank is on it, and I'm hoping that they come back to us at the end of the month with also some great recommendations. So I do urge you to get, if you can attend that, and I want to thank Frank because I know he's busy, for taking the time out to participate in that, which we thought was very important. So if you have that, they're going to be coming up with the blueprint, of priorities that I'm going to obviously have the final say so on. But there are a lot of experts from different fields on it. A big piece of that is engagement. So even on some of the suggestions made today on doing, town halls and, video, that those may be some things that are part of it. I haven't been privy to those conversations yet. So, we want to give, the committees the space to work, in private and do what they're doing and then get that back to me. So really, if you can attend that, that would be great because they're coming back to me with suggestions. So I want to thank you once again, Frank, for that.
No problem.
Borough President?
And I see Marie put, diversity is definitely something that's, beyond important, as our neighborhoods begin to change across Queens. So, it's funny during the borough president's race, and I don't want to get into politics, there are people who are just like, we're going to get rid of everybody on every community board right away. And we're going to, we're going to make sure every community board is diverse right away, day one. But we know this takes work. But it's something that we should all, in the world's borough, in the most diverse place, keep front and center as we move in. Our neighborhoods are changing. They're becoming more diverse. And, we should ensure that our boards are certainly reflective of the communities that we serve. So that is something that, is definitely going to be front and center in this administration. And of course, we want to make sure we have the right people. We want to make sure that people are going to show up who actually are going to participate as well. So there's no one size, one shoe fits all approach, one size fits all approach. But we should, keep that front and center. So as we move forward, and the comptroller is doing his audits as well, right? You know, these are all things that are going to continue to be highlighted as we move forward. And I'm not saying that we need to be reactive because of an audit, but we should be able to internally look at ourselves and say, we need to do better in these areas. This is where we're missing. If you need support, how do we support that? That's why I think ensuring the application process is more open is so important, right? How do we promote what we are doing across the spectrum? And I know you can't do it alone. So, you know, I understand my office is about to get a lot of pressure to do this stuff, right? To aid you, to assist you in this endeavor and in these endeavors. And I don't take this position lightly. You know, there are things that we can do better. We must do better. And I recognize that you all can't do it alone as well. So we want to make sure that you understand that we're a wing. We want you to be able to work independent of us and do what you need to do. But we also need to, you know, ensure that you recognize that we're here to also support you as well. And it's a lot of work, but we're gonna assert ourselves in making sure that happens. I think I saw Debbie again. And then,
yes, Mr. Borough President, thank you. I appreciate you recognizing. Two things. One, I want to piggyback off the movie and film industry. We have a lot that goes on here and is still going on here, and parking has been an issue. We did have the film and TV people to our cabinet, and we want to make sure that their responsiveness, again, that they have tax incentives, which are very important. Mm-hmm. And some of that should be spread through the borough and through our districts while they film, and make sure that the community board is aware and guides them to all the food pantries and things that are in the district to make sure that they help out in these tough times. They're still filming, they're coming in. They don't even have, they have 2 borough presidents ago on their notification. They haven't updated their system. They are behind. And we need help from your office to make sure that they upgrade their system, their computer system, their notification of their permits to our offices, including yours. So I wanted to make that note that it's very important, because this is a big industry. And as you said, they probably could provide some help and dollars to our communities.
Right, and you're totally right. Even along the lines of supporting small businesses, right? You know, where you order your food from. Right. And I think I had an initial conversation with them a few months ago, and I was saying the same thing. Like, we get these last minute notifications. This is when I was a council member. You're shooting on the boardwalk, you know. Right. You know, and that's great, but you know, how does the community? You know, what there are opportunities there? Are there job opportunities for Queens residents? Are there opportunities to support our small businesses?
Yes.
You know, we don't want you ordering from Manhattan. You know, we have small businesses who are struggling. So there does need to be a lot more cohesive planning around what they do.
And hire local residents.
Local yep. Is a lot of opportunity. And Brent and company are gonna make sure, and Carolina, that I have all these talking points. So when I speak with the commissioner Friday, you know, we're in sync. So if you have suggestions, please get that over to us today.
I will.
I don't like to do last minute, so don't send it to me Friday morning. You know, let's you know, get it to us today so that I can look through it and make sure we don't miss anything.
Okay, great.
Get that information. You know, and then we could have them come back and, you know, just, you know, I like deliverables. You know, so we don't want to do these calls to vent, just to vent, and then there's no deliverables. So, you know, I'm big on deliverables. Jonathan will tell you that. So let's come up with these ideas, but let's make sure that we come up with a real plan for the next few weeks and months to really follow through on these items and have them come back. And, you know, I like to cross off the list. Done. It's Claire Shulman to it, right? You know.
Yes.
So let's do that. I'm going to go to Giovanna Reed.
Wait, I had a second thing. The consumer affairs license, you know, as we're doing all of these outdoor dining and cafes, et cetera, in our district, we had a ton of consumer affair applications that businesses paid for permits to have outside cafes. Are they getting reimbursements for that? What's happening to those dollars? And can the consumer affairs department go out and do some enforcement to make sure that they're all in compliance? that agency, I don't know where they are now, and they should, you know, all of the dialogue that we've had with them has gone by the wayside. And I feel bad for the businesses that have paid all that money. And are they being reimbursed? We don't have answers to those questions. So, Mr. Borough President, I would bump it up to you to see where that is in the pipeline as well.
I think we could include that, loop that in, Brent and company with our small business stuff. I think we could, you know, we could consider as community boards doing a town hall, right? I mean, we could do a, you know, you could theme it, and then you would have all of these, you know, agencies wrapped around, and we could do it digitally, right? And then open it up. And that's one way for people to understand what the community boards do as well, right? So we're not hiding behind elected officials necessarily, you know, to answer a lot of the community's issues. So I think we can theme some sort of town hall hosted by the community boards.
Thank
right?
you, Mr. Borough President. Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And can you put your contact into the chat?
My contact? You got my contact. Oh,
Oh,
my
Brent.
contact information?
Brent's
Oh,
contact.
Brent.
So
Oh,
I can
Brent.
send him
Oh, I
the
was
list.
about to say.
So I can send him the list for the film and TV, those questions.
Perfect. All righty, we're going to Giovanna Reed.
Good morning, Borough
Good
President
morning.
Richards.
Good morning.
It's congratulations on your election, and looking forward to working with you again. You have been in my district a number of times in our board. Actually, we've met with you a few times as well. You've attended our health fair, our community cleanup, and a number of other projects. My question to you is, how can community boards assist in helping to diversify our increase diversity? But I will also have to say that Community Board 3 is probably one of the most diverse community boards in the borough. Our members have a combined languages of 20 from all various neighborhoods. But how can community boards participate in this process? Currently, community boards, it's done, the appointments are done by the borough president and the elected officials. So we don't really have a direct role in diversifying. So what do you suggest, or what would the committee suggest as to how community boards can participate?
Right, and I go back to a lot of the work that the transition team is doing on the other side. I'm looking for those suggestions, but I'm from them. But I also will add that, you know, outreach efforts are going to be critical. You know, and I think we have to get out into different corners of the borough, from public housing, houses of worship. You know, I refuse to believe in a borough of 2.4 million people that we can't figure out and find individuals of diverse backgrounds who are willing to serve on our boards. So I think, you know, just in my experience, and this is to take nothing away, you know, I've been around 17 years now, and I've worked with my community boards extensively. But one of the things I will say that we can improve on is making sure that we're doing that outreach in different corners of the borough. And that's something, you know, that I think we can improve upon. And not only that, you know, you have limited capacity. So, you know, one of the things I'm tasking even, you know, the folks who are coming online at the borough president's office in terms of constituent services, community boards, what I'm really tasking them with is to make sure we're getting outside of the office. So that's one way we can do it. You know, I was thinking we could even come and set up shop, you know, I mean, some of you may not want me there, but I'm willing to come in and set up for a week or so, you know, at your community board offices, right? You know, we need to get back to the basics, right? You know, doing street outreach, being at the subways, and we need to work on our branding a little bit more. So I'm hoping that we can improve upon that. And at the very least, we're making our best efforts to do it, and that should definitely improve the diversity issues that we have. And I do commend those boards who have looked at this issue. You know, like I said, I'm tasking my office to really look at this closely. And if there's a shortage of applications of people from diverse backgrounds, that's not on the public, that's on us. So so I look forward to being out there. And you know, I think even the mere fact that, and you know, we had Helen Marshall, I'm the first Black man certainly to be the BP, like that sends a message, right? You know, that, you know, being the executive of this borough and being the first African-American male, I'm hoping, you know, certainly, you know, opens up a floodgate of people who are interested in their community boards as well. So I have work to do in this area too. And I don't plan on being shy, you know, and certainly pushing the conversation around diversity. So that's what I would say for now. Even in terms of, you know, we're thinking of media outreach, and we have people on the transition team who are saying, you know, yes, we work with the Queens Couriers of the world, the Chronicles, but could we do better outreach with ethnic media, right? And that's something we're looking at as well. So there's no, you know, one solution that's going to resolve the issue, but I think if we all work in tandem and keep that in mind, we'll all see the numbers improve where they need to. So thank you for your question. Hope I answered it. But you know, there's a myriad of strategies I think we'll have to use to diversify where we need to.
How about a community board week? We're doing that week. We do all community board things. We talk about the community boards. We go out in the streets. I mean, we do something and we advertise it. We say that community board week is coming. You know, and
Right.
on that particular week, we do a lot of things that has to do with community boards, whether it could be recruitment. You you can tell them what the community boards are, things like that.
I like that idea. That's a great idea. Community board week. I like that.
Mr. Borough President, what
Yes,
about
ma'am.
also having more public membership where they would come into the meetings as a public member and have them use that for training? So people who think they might want to be a board member and they don't have any background or knowledge, they could come in and maybe do a 6-month or a year training to see what it's like to be a board member, going out and going into the community and telling people, listen, you don't have to make the commitment now, but if you really want to help the community, come in, give it a try, be a public member. You won't have a voting right, but you'll be able to listen, learn, you'll have exposure.
Mhm.
So,
Like that.
sorry guys, if I could just jump in really quickly, Borough President. Florence, just an FYI, we already do that. Members are
We
urged
do
to be-
too.
Right, correct. But to be clear, first off, they do have voting rights if they're on a public committee. That's the first
But
thing.
not if we do it in the way that I'm suggesting for training purposes only.
Correct.
I'm not,
But remember, that's fine. But remember, once they're put on the committee, the charter will say they do have rights to vote. But again, the fact is that Borough President, we are bringing up a good point in that. And again, I think this is a conversation that will probably take place during tomorrow's meeting. But that's the general idea is that members of the public are allowed to be on committees, and there's no reason why at the beginning of the year, with the possibility of having 50 board members with 200,000 residents, that I only start the year with 42, sometimes 44 members. There's no reason for that, specifically because I have really, really good attendance on a lot of my public committees. Or rather public members on committees. So Florence, yes, that is a great idea and it's already working. And there's no reason why at the end of the year, when the Borough President's office reaches out to us, as they should, on best members, we can give them a list of the public members who had great attendance, who have already been trained in the system before they get put on. So it's already happening, and if it hasn't, then it should be, Florence.
but what I'm saying, the change, we'll talk about this tomorrow, it's a better forum, but what I'm saying is the change that I'm suggesting, by not having the voting rights, you can have more public members. That's why I'm saying that. What would happen is you'd be able to expose more people to the board, you'd be able to draw more people in without impacting the vote of the community board and use it as a training tool. Do you see what I'm saying? Because there's a ratio of how many public members you have to how many board members. In my case, every single year, I have 50 members. I don't have the issue you have. As we are all different, I'm not, I'm just stating, we always have 50 members. But there's always turnout every year. You lose 8 members, you lose 4 members, you lose 10 members, you lose 3 members. So by having this pool of people there already training, where yes, they're not voting,
fill the space.
but you can fill the space from people who are knowledgeable about land use, people who are knowledgeable about capital and expense, people who are knowledgeable about health. And this would give them an opportunity to get their feet wet. And they may not like it, and then you won't end up with that one person who comes to the first meeting and never shows up again.
Like that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the suggestion. I'm glad to hear that also as well, Chris, that you're doing that. Thank you. All righty, we're beginning to wrap up. All right, any other suggestions? All righty, seeing none, it's been great to see each and every one of you. Happy holidays to everyone. If we don't speak before then, I'm sure we will. But happy holidays, be safe, mask up, socially distanced, no large gatherings. That's my message to Queens. And I'm very grateful to our district managers once again, who really take on a lot. They take on a lot, and I'm really appreciative of each one of you for what you do and what you bring to the table. And that's what makes this borough great, and what makes our community boards great is there's a diverse set of opinions, but we're all rowing in the same direction. We all want a better quality of life for Queens. So I look forward to not just conversations, but getting some stuff done with each and every one of you to strengthen our community board and strengthen the borough president's office. So borough president's office. So thank you. Happy holidays, and we got follow-up work to do.